Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish that rather than trying to redefine the words domestic terrorism, my Republican colleagues would simply instruct their supporters to stop engaging in it. Mr. Attorney General, thank you for your testimony today. As an alumnus of the Office of Legal Policy at Maine Justice, I know about the hard work that you, your leadership team, and your line attorneys have been engaging in, and as an American citizen, I'm deeply appreciative of that. Thank you. You won't be surprised, given the work that I've been doing this year, that I want to speak with you about protecting the fundamental right of Americans to vote, which is clearly under assault. You underscored in your remarks to the Civil Rights Division in June that the right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy, and you have said much the same today. I don't need to tell you that states have launched the most severe assault on the right to vote in this country since Jim Crow. It is an onslaught that has hit voters of color, seniors, young people, and voters with disabilities the hardest. President Biden, for his part, has warned that we are facing, quote, the greatest test of our democracy since the Civil War. As you said in your remarks to the Civil Rights Division, so far this year, at least 14 states have passed new laws that make it harder to vote. Well, according to the Brennan Center for Justice, that total has since risen to 19. Mr. Attorney General, let me start with a simple question to you. Which of those 19 states has the Justice Department sued for unlawful or unconstitutional voter suppression?
Well, this is on the public record. We sued Georgia.
Only one out of 19. In your June address, you emphasized that a meaningful right to vote requires meaningful enforcement. Yet even as we face an historic level of voter suppression and even as we confront grave threats to the integrity of vote counts, the Justice Department has not challenged the vast majority of these laws in court. Would you say that bringing one case against state voter suppression is meaningful enforcement?
I think we have to prevent discriminatory violations of the Voting Rights Act wherever they occur and in as many states as they occur. But these investigations under Section 2 are very record intensive and very labor intensive. And voting rights, the voting section of the Civil Rights Division is extremely devoted to making those kind of analysis, but we have to do each case one by one because of the elimination of Section 5. That is what the Civil Rights Division under our new Assistant Attorney General, Kristen Clark, is doing. I have great confidence in her and in the division.
I have great confidence in Kristen Clark and yourself as well. You mentioned that Section 5 has been hampered. Of course, it's been hampered in that Shelby v. Holder decision in 2013. You also mentioned earlier today that you are supportive of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and I appreciate that. I think it is part of the democracy-saving legislation that the Senate must pass. Are you familiar with the Freedom to Vote Act, the revised version of the For the People Act?
I know what it is, and I know some provisions, but to be honest, I don't know every provision.
Okay. Well, I would submit that we need to pass that in the Senate as well, given the democracy-saving provisions that are contained therein. It is long past time for the Senate to pass both of these pieces of legislation. And as we learned yesterday, unfortunately, the filibuster, a Senate rule that entrenched Jim Crow for decades, is the last obstacle in the way. I am convinced, as you have said and written before and reiterated in your testimony today, that the Justice Department needs new tools to fully protect our democracy. And as we learned yesterday, the filibuster, a rule crucial to entrenching Jim Crow, is the last obstacle. If presented with a choice between reforming the filibuster and protecting the right to vote, or protecting the filibuster and allowing voter suppression to continue, which would you choose, Mr. Attorney General?
Look, I think the right to vote is absolutely essential, and it is, as I've said repeatedly and as you quoted, a cornerstone of democracy. The question of the House rules are a question for the House. I'm very mindful of the separation of powers, that this is a judgment for the members of the House to determine and not for the executive branch.
And of course, the filibuster is a Senate rule.
I'm sorry, the Senate.
It's fine, I understood.
My bad.
Mr. Attorney General, as an alumnus of the Justice Department and as an American, I'm grateful for your work. But if we do not reform the filibuster and act now to protect the right to vote, the same white nationalists who incite violent insurrections at the Capitol and lie about the efficacy of masks and vaccines are going to disenfranchise their way back into power. Please take that message back to the President of the United States when you have a conversation with him, hopefully, about the filibuster and what he can do to help us here and to protect American democracy, which is in grave peril.
The gentleman's time has expired. I'll recognize Mr. Roy for the purpose of a use